Ian from RTO here. Welcome to Marathon Day. Now today, this is one of those groups that I'd never heard of, and that is one of the things I love about doing these rankings, what you suggest. Now once again, I think Zeb has come up with a band that I've never known much about them. I've heard of them, but I've never had any interest. So when I listened to these albums, it was for the first time. This one's been on the, it's taken a little while because I have found them very hard to listen to, I must admit. And the band is Deerhoof. Now Deerhoof are an American band from San Francisco. And they were formed in 1994. And they consist of founding member drummer Greg Saunier, bassist and singer Satomi Matsusaka, and guitarist John Dietrich and Eddie Rodriguez. They began as an improvised punk band, and they became widely renowned for their influential music. And they've released 18 albums. So these, I've listened to these about 2 or 3 times each. So this is, if I put your favourite Deerhoof at the bottom, it's not a personal thing. It's just it's personal to me, and if you like it, that's brilliant. But this is my interpretation of these albums. So coming in at number 18, we have the debut album from 1997, and it's called The Man, the King, the Girl. On here we've got Rob Fisk on guitar, Satomi Matsusaki on vocals, and Greg Saunier on drums. First track is called Tiger Chain, and I just didn't get on with this. It's just a noise. It's not melodic, it's just noises, and I really struggled with that one. Up next is Polly B. Now I do like the riffs in this, and it isn't that bad. I can sort of manage that one. Up comes Sophie next, and there's only one way to describe this, and it's what a racket. I don't even call it music. I'm sorry guys, I just didn't like it. A town test site, once again, it's just a load of noises. It's disjointed, it's not comprehensible, there's no rhythm to it, it's just noise. But there is a track on here called Gold on Black, which is probably the best of the worst. At least it resembles a song. Up next is For Those of Us on Foot. It's 2 minutes of rubbish. Again, I just couldn't get on with it. Gorin' Rut. Again, it all sounds the same. Just a load of noises and this bang bang on the drum. Wheelie Freed Speaks to the People. It sounds like it's been recorded on a little tape recorder with a little microphone. Not very good. Bending. Same. I just can't find anything. Itchy Pea Pads. Just a load of noises. Once again, it just doesn't comprehend me. The Pickup Bear, sorry, doesn't sound of anything. The Comedian Favouritists, uncomprehendable. Queen of the Mole People, what a dinge. I just didn't like this album, and to be quite honest, I'd already made up my mind this was going to be bottom. I didn't want to listen to it again, and I'm going to give it a big fat 0 because what was it all about? In my opinion, it was just a load of noises, and let's call it an album. Nah. Okay, coming in at number 17, we have the 4th album from 2002, and it's called Reveille. The lineup on this one is Satomi Matsusaki, John Dietrich, and Greg Sumner, with Chris Cooper doing some extras, and it was Satomi who created the album cover, which is quite nice. So sound the alarm. It's 20 seconds of bells. I'll get that. It's okay. Then we have This Magnificent Bird Will Rise. It is actually a good track. I really liked it. It's a good little rocker. Best track on the album. The Eyebright Burglar. 42 seconds of nonsense. What was it there for? Punch Buggy Valves. Very disjointing, screeching. The drums are all over the place. Just not for me. And then we have this 47-second thing called No One Fed Me So I Stayed. And to me it's a WTF moment. Yeah, we'll move on. Our Angels Ulu. The guitar and the vocals are not too bad on that. You know, I think the Satomi has got an interesting voice, and it doesn't sound too bad on that. And the next one is called The Last Trumpeter Swan. This is 8 minutes long, but it seems it's 15 short songs just thrown together. There's no flow to this whatsoever. Top Tim Ruby's, definitely one of the better pieces on here. Some nice keyboards on that. It's not too bad. Then we got Holy Night Fever, which is a keyboard and guitar thing. It's sort of comprehensible. All Rise. It just sounds like a load of children plinking and plonking on a keyboard. I don't know how you can call that music, but that's just a personal opinion, of course. Frenzied Hampson Hello. Disjointed. Days and Nights in the Forest. 4 minutes of what is going on here. It just doesn't thing with me. Then we have Hark the Umpire. The guitar work is so irritating. Cooper is just a little bit pointless of 2 minutes of hitting. Hallelujah Chorus. It's alright, it vaguely resembles a song. I really struggled with this album again. I don't know why, I just don't find it musical. But I do like one track on it, so I'm actually going to give that an RTO ranking of 1 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 16 from 1999, it's Holdypaws. Rob Fisk on guitar, Satomi on the bass and vocals, Greg on the drums, and we've got Kelly Good on keyboards. The first track is called Magic Star. Now, I actually don't mind this one. It's got a really good riff, and the vocals are pretty decent as well. Queen of the Lake has got some interesting riffs on it, but it's just a horrible whiny vocal from Satomi. I didn't really get that. The Moose's Daughter. I don't get this off-key riffs. It sounds terrible. Sounds like he hasn't tuned his guitar. I know they call it alternative, but it just doesn't sound right. Satan. The vocal on this just bugs me. I couldn't listen to more than a minute of it. It's awful. Crow. Once again, the off-key guitar riffs. Flower. I quite like this one. It's got a quirky little tune to it. The bass line's pretty good on it. It's not too bad. Lady People. Flat. Just all over the place. But my favourite track on it was a thing called The Great Cartoon. It's got a great bass and riff, and I don't mind that at all. It's sort of listenable. Dead Beast Queen, not too bad, even though the vocals a little strange, but musically it doesn't sound too bad. Data, it's the worst track on here. It's 6 tracks just thrown together. It just drags out, doesn't work. Well, I thought this was certainly a little bit better than the debut album. There's a few tracks on here that I actually did like. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 2 out of 10. Coming in at number 15, we got the third album from 2001, and it's called Halfbird. Rob Fisk, Satomi, and Greg on the drums. We got a little track called Half Rabbit, Half Dog. I like the start of this. It's got that industrial sound and riff. It's not too bad. 6 holes on a six. It's quite punky, and I do actually like that. It's quite quirky, not bad. Red Dragon, my favourite track on here. This is a bit proper alternative. It's got a nice melody to it. It's melodic and it flows well. Up next, Tricky Bird. It's alright. The vocals are a little bit off for me. Then we have a track called The Man, the King, the Girl and the Spider. Interesting track. The keyboard at the end is alright, but it's got sort of a medieval feel to it, so it's not too bad. Witchery, Glamour Spell, quirky. There's some xylophone in there, I do believe. so it's not too bad. Then we have Queen Orca, Wicker Wind. I had to switch this off after about 30 seconds. It just irritated me. I kept trying to play it and I just didn't want to. Yeah, Sunnyside. All she's saying is Sunnyside, boring. Carriage, a little bit of a dirge, not brilliant. Littleness, bit off key. I don't like songs that sound off key. Xmas Tree, funny track. For some reason I quite like it. Rack Attack, sorry. It's not too bad. The solo is a bit in your face though. The 44s, sounds like they're practicing. And they said, oh, we'll just put it down anyway. Half Mile, Halfbird. Them alternative off-key sounds don't sound right. Now, when I listen to them, I'm like, oh, they are starting to sound a little bit better. It's still not. Still struggled with it. But I should give this one an RTO ranking of 2.5. Okay, coming in at number 14, we got the 13th album from 2016, and it's called The Magic. Greg's on drums, Satomi is on vocals, and John Dietrich is on guitar, and Ed Rodriguez is on the guitar. The first track is the best track on here, and it's called The Devil, and it's Anarchic Surrealist Retuing. Sorry if I mispronounced that. The best track on here, it's quirky. I love the drumming from Greg on that. It's pretty good. Then we have Cave Mania. Least you can understand the lyrics on this. Second best track on the album, pretty good. That Ain't No Life to Me. Terrible song. I don't like the singing. I don't like the guitar work. It's all off key and it just sounds thing. Life is Suffering. Just like this song. I just couldn't get on with it. Criminals of the Dream. Everyone seems to be playing their own tune on there. It's just a mishmash. Model Behavior. After a minute, I had to switch it off. It was such a dirge. Learning to apologise efficiently. I think they should just apologise for this song. It's awful. Dispossessor. Definitely one of the better tracks. It's got a funky bit of bass on it. And it's not too bad. I Don't Want to Set the World on Fire. The bass line's good. The vocals are good. Ish. Even makes Yoko Ono sound good. That's how good it is. Acceptance Speech, one of the better tracks on here. It's not too bad. At least everyone's singing in the right key for once. Then we got Pastrash Come Back, 40 Seconds of My Life That I Could Never Get Back. Debut, I like this. It's got a really good riff in it. Not bad at all. Plastic Feels, another of those post-punk feels to it, and I don't mind that one either. So we've got Little Hollywood. The spoken word's okay, but it's the singing sounds like someone's in pain. And the last track, Nurse Me, so disjointed it just falls apart. Oh, it's a little bit better for me. I liked one or two of the tracks, so I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 3 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 13, the 15th album from 2020. Future Teen Cave Artists. Greg is playing drums on there, Satomi's on the vocals, John's on the guitar, and Ed is on the guitar. The first track is the title track, Future Teen Cave Artists. It's a little bit disjointed. I don't like the vocal or the vocal delivery. It's not very good. Sympathy for Baby Boo. The riffs are alright. The keyboard doesn't sound right. Doesn't mix with the rest of the track. The Love One. Another track that I could only get halfway through. And every time I went back to it, I only got as far. It just irritated me to bits. Then my favourite track on here is a track called Oh Ye Saddle Babes. This got a sort of a tune to it. New Orphan Asylum for Spirited Deer Children. Lots of noise. Not very pleasurable. Zazit. The vocals are not too bad on here. Satomi actually sings them quite well, but the rest of the music doesn't do anything for me. Fraction Anthem, it's not too bad. I have had worse on here. Farewell Symphony. It's all right. Wouldn't say it makes me jump for joy. Reduce Guilt. It's one of those disjointed tracks that 6 ideas are just thrown together and there's no flow with it. Damage Eyes, Squinting in the Beautiful Hot Sun. One of the better tracks on here. At least everyone's on the same page for that one. I Call It Thee. I like the piano on this. It's quite nice. I was a bit shocked when I got that. This album has got a few good tracks on, but there's a lot of very memorable stuff on it, so I shall give this an RTO ranking of 3.5. Okay, coming in at number 12 is the 6th album from 2004, Milkman. I can't stand the cover, and this is a concept album based on the cover, and it was created by Japanese artist Ken Kagami, a friend of and a housemate of one of the band. So on here we've got Chris Cohen on guitars, Don Dietrich on guitar, Satumi on the bass and Greg on the drums. The first track is the Milkman, and now by the time I got to this I was starting to get used to Satomi's vocals, and it's not too bad. There is not a little bit of guitar in this. Then we have Gigo Dance. Didn't like this one. Oh, terrible vocal. Sounds like she's in a lot of pain. Desperate, not too bad. I don't like the drum beat though. It's just like a drum machine. What clunking. It doesn't sound very good. Rainbow Silhouette, of the Milky Rain. Bassline's great, but the guitar is irritating and there's just all these noises that come in. It doesn't do anything for me. Dog on the Sidewalk, absolutely awful. Sorry. 1 minute and 13 seconds of my life that I've missed. C is the next one. I just don't think anyone's actually on the same page on this. They're all doing their own thing. Milking, the riffs are very good, but I don't like the vocal. Dream Wanderer's tune isn't too bad. Song of Sorn, that high-pitched piano sounds horrible. I couldn't bear to listen to it. It's like someone running their fingers down a blackboard, a glove. Oh, well, too many high-pitched ones. It just didn't do anything to me. The best track on here is the bit Orange Sun Run Over the Speed Light. It's an instrumental and it's quite good. New Sneakers. Don't do it. I like the tempo halfway through it changes, and it does it with a natural flow. It's nice. I like concept albums, but this one I couldn't get it. Although there are a couple of highlights on this one. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 4 out of 10. Coming in at number 11 is the 12th album from 2014, is Isla Bonita. Satomi, John, Ed and Greg. First track on here is called Paradise Girls. It's quirky, I don't mind it. It's probably one of the best opening tracks on one of their albums. Mirror Monster, once again everyone's doing their own thing. Yeah. Doom, the best track on the album. It's got a proper bass line to it and it's a proper punking sounding track. Satomi's vocal is pretty cool on that one. Last Fad, all the guitar is terrible, well off key, doesn't do anything for me. Tiny Bubbles, again one of the better tracks on here, and I do like the guitar work on this, it's very good. Exit Only is my second favourite track on here, very post-punk, got some nice meaty riffs in it as well. Big House Waltz, not too bad, although the guitar does sound a little off kilter. God 2 just got irritating and I didn't like it. Black Pitch, it's not too bad actually, and the last track is called Oh Bummer, pretty good in places. The bit at the end ruined it though. The last minute is just awful. Yeah, this has got some good tracks on it. It's a bit of a mixed bag here. They're not very consistent in my books, but I'll give this one an RTO ranking of 4.6. Anyway, it's time for a sip of coffee. Okay, top 10. There are some reasonable albums on here. So coming in at number 10, this is a album from 2020, and it's called Love Law, and it's a medley covers album. Some interesting bits on here. So it's Satomi, John, Ed, and Greg. So they're called Love Law, and Love War 1 it's very annoying. It's trying to pick out some tracks I knew. I couldn't. It's not the best. Love Law 2. There's a little bit of Knight Rider theme in here, a little bit of Electric Avenue, and Gary Newman's Cars at the end. It isn't too bad. Then Love Law 3. There's a little bit of supposed to be a little bit of Muppet Movie in there and Star Trek and Beach Boys, but I couldn't hear it. Love Law 4. It's got some very interesting interpretations of the Police, Kraftwerks, and B-52s. Not too bad. Love Law 5 has got some Laurie Anderson and Velvet Underground, and it's probably the best. It's interesting interpretation of Venus in Furs. I mean, it's weird, and that is a weird classic track, and a little bit of Laurie Anderson. It's okay. It's not too bad. It's hard to see what they're actually covering some of the tracks, but some of it's quite listening. I did like the little quirky Knight Rider. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 9 is the 17th album from 2021, and it's called Actually. Chris Cohen on guitar, Don Dietrich on guitar, Satomi's on the bass, and Greg on the drums. First track on this one is called Be Unbarred, O Ye Gates of Hell. This actually works. Interesting vocal. The guitar work is pretty good. I really did like that track. It's a little bit unusual and it works well. Department of Corrections. Interesting again. The guitar's a little bit whiny, but it works. It's quite cohesion track, that one is. We Grew and We Are Astonished. This happens to be my favourite track. It's melodic. The guitar piece is really good. It's a wonderful sort of vocal from Satomi. Scar City is Manufactured. Second favourite track on this. It's quite an uplifting track for this band. They don't do many uplifting tracks. Ancient Mysteries Described. The bass line is good and it's got an interesting drum beat in it. Not too bad. Planet Thief. I love the drums in this. I think the drums from Greg are really good. And when you put, you can't be a bad drummer, but everyone's in the same key, it works. Philosophy is Fiction. Back to the ploddy, irritating songs. Epic love poem. The bass line just doesn't fit with everything else. It's a bit busy. And the last track is called Divine Comedy. It's okay places in it, but the guitar solo is pretty good. It's a mixed bag again. They've got some really good tracks on here and some I just couldn't get onto it. But we're getting there. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 5.5. Okay then, coming in at number 8 is their most current album. Came out in 2023 and it's called Miracle Level. And it's the first of it was their first album that was actually sang exclusively in Japanese. So John, Satomi, Ed and Greg. The first track is called Sit Down, Let Me Tell You a Story. I quite like this. Because she's singing in Japanese, it sounds lovely. It really works. I like that. My Lovely Cat. I like this track. Nice riff, nice vocal. Don't know what she's singing about, but it sounds really good. The poignant melody, quirky. I love her. Her singing in Japanese is wonderful. It gives you a little bit extra edge. Everybody Marvel, my favourite track on here. I love the riffs. It's melodic. It's an excellent track. Jack Black Double Shield. It's okay till the ends. It goes off into this free-for-all improvisation, which really spoiled it. Miracle Level. Love the vocal. The guitar work is pretty good. It's quite atmospheric. And the Moon Laughs. Love that opening riff. Boy, is it good. The good vocal again. Little Maker. A nice melodic track that sounds really good. It sounds really good under the headphones. I did have a listen to that one under the headphones. Phase Out All Remaining None Miracles by 2028. Not too bad. One of the weaker tracks on the album. Momentary Art of Soul. The guitar solos just ruin it. It irritates my ear. It's too pole. I must be getting old because it just was high pitched. Wedding March Flower, it's okay. But this is their most current album, and I didn't think it was a bad album actually. I didn't have to really skip through anything. I sort of got this one, and it's not too bad. So I'm going to give this one an RTO ranking of 6 out of 10. Okay, coming in at number 7, we got the 10th album of 2011, and it's Deerhoof versus Evil. It's Satomi, John, Ed, and Greg. The first track is Kidom Noze Somia. Quirky little number. I like the percussion on this. It really works. Then we have Behold a Marvel in the Darkness. A little bit of acoustic guitar at the beginning, which was a breath of fresh air. Very listenable track. The Merry Barracks. Got a great bass line. But the rest of it's a little bit... Then my favourite track on here is a little number called No One Asked to Dance. Quirky, acoustic guitars, and nice gentle. Probably a bit different for them, and that's probably why I like that. Let's Dance the Jet. It's got a bit of a dance feel to it. It's a bit uplifting, pretty good. Super Duper Rescue Heads. The drum program on this is pretty good. It's a nice little dancey sort of number. I don't mind that. Then we have a track called Must Fight Current. It's got that jazzy sound to it, and it really worked. I was quite impressed with that. Secret Mobilization, another quirky number I quite liked. Hey I Can isn't bad to it. Not too bad, even though the guitar's a bit off, it doesn't really ruin it. Then we have Sea Moon, not too bad. I Did the Crimes for You. I do like the quirky little twee piano sound on it. It really works. Then we have the last track, Almost Everyone, Almost Always. Bit dirgy, bit boring. Not the best track to end the album with. I would say this is certainly one of the better albums I enjoyed from Deerhoof. It's got lots of really good tracks, and I did actually enjoy listening to this album. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6.1. Okay, then coming in at number 6, the 11th album from 2012, Breakup Song. Chris Cohen's on guitars here with John, Satomi, and Greg. First track is the title track and Breakup Songs. Don't mind this, it's got a really good vocal from Satomi and also a real strong guitar riff. I like that. There's That Grin. It's got a real quirky intro, and it's got sort of this bassy synth sound on, which is really good. It really fits into the track. Bad Kids to the Front. All I'll say, this is crap. It's all over the place. 0 Seconds Pause. It sounds like it's going to settle into a mediocre track, but there's that distorted electronic bass sound that really lifts it. Then we have Mothball to the Fleet, my favourite track on here. It's just a very good vocal. It's really strong. Flower. It's one of them sort of guitar weird effects on it. Shouldn't work, but it does. Fly or Not to Fly. The bass on this is terrific from Satomi. It really is a good bass line. The Trouble with Candy Hands. Quite like this. Again, it sounds like it's being played on a Fisher-Price piano, and it actually reminds me of some of the Flying Lizard stuff. Probably why I like it. We Do Parties, another fun track. Mario Flaming Whiskers 3, the most irritating track on this album. It's just awful. Then we have Fate de Deux. It's quite melodic, well structured, and not a bad track to end the album. This band I don't think will never set me on fire, but there's some really good songs, and it's been well put together, this album. So I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6.2. Coming in at number 5, we've got the 8th album, 2007, Friendly Opportunity. This is John, Greg, and Satomi. The first track is The Perfect Me. I love the opening to this. It's got a really nice melodic keyboard, and I love Greg's drumming on it. Next track is my favourite track on here. It's called Plus 81. It's got some horns on there. The guitar's really good. It's a good vocal. It's quite a quirky little number. Believe ESP. This track's even got a cowbell on with a great bass line. Very good. The Galacist. Nice acoustic guitar on this, and it's got a really nice vocal from Satomi. Really like that. Choco Fight. The keyboard sounds great. It's really strange, and I do like strange things, and this one I do actually like. Wither, the Invisible Birds, the piano, the strings. It works well. It's really, really nice. Great vocal as well. Cast Off Crown. Irritating percussion on it. The guitars are good though. Kids Are So Small. I don't like this drum and bass sound. I've never been into drum and bass. It's awful. Matchbook Seeks Maniac. The drum and bass sounds a lot better on this one, but it's still not my cup of tea. And the last track is called Look Away. That middle bit needs to be taken out of this track because it's just incomprehensible. It ruins the track. The bit at the beginning and the end are fantastic. The bit in the middle is awful. Apart from some of the real freaky stuff on this, there's some really good half decent tracks on here. Not a bad listen, so I'm going to give that an RTO ranking of 6.4. Okay, coming in at number 4, the 9th album, released October the 7th in 2008. It's called Offend Maggie, John Dietrich, Satomi Matsaki, Ed Rodriguez and Greg Saunier. The first track, The Tears and Music of Love. I really like this. It's one of the most melodic songs this band have done, I think. It's a really nice tune with a fantastic vocal. I do like this track. Chandelier Searchlight has really got that indie rock feel to it. Really nice vocal, some nice riffs on it. Very, very good. We've got Buck and Judy. It's a bit of bass and drum, but it works. It's melodic, and that bass line is really good. Then we have Snoopy Waves, some nice guitar work on it, but the guitar solo is a little bit disjointed. The title track, Offend Maggie, some nice little guitar bits on this, one of the better tracks on the album. Basketball, Get Your Groove Back, not a fan of this one, it's all over the shop. Don't Get Born, it's 40 seconds long, it's not too bad, pity it's not longer. My Purple Past, not bad, it's got a nice proper indie sort of track, but my favourite track on here is Family of Others. It's a proper track, a lot of thought's gone into this. It's some nice melodic, the bass sounds good, the guitar sound good. Then we get Fresh Born. I like the start of this, it's very mainstream indie. You know, they should have, if they did more of this, I'd probably like them more. And then we have Iguru Guru, not a fan of this one, the vocals are flat. Then we have this nonsense track called This Is God Speaking. What's it on here for? I've got no idea. Then we have Numi No, not too bad. You sort of get used to the way that Satomi sings. And the last track is Jagged Fruit. My favourite last track on a Deerhoof album. Some nice guitar on it. Not bad, this album. It's got some really strong tracks in. A little mainstream in places, but that's good. It worked. I really enjoyed this album, so I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6.5. Number 3. 5th album from 2003, Apple O. Chris Cohen's on this with John, Satomi and Greg. First track is called Dummy Discards a Heart. Probably my favourite guitar solo on any Deerhoof track. Wonderful guitar solo. Heart Failure. It's a short track, quirky. It's got a little bit of guitar bit in the middle. Sealed with a Kiss. Again, it reminds me of some of that Flying Lizard stuff. I quite like that. This has got brass in it. Pretty cool. Flower. It sounds a little bit distorted in places and disjointed, but there is some great drumming from Greg on it. My Diamond Star Car. Very short thing, but the drumming is pretty good, and I do like that. My favourite track is Apple Bomb, a very melodic track. It's got a lovely vocal from Satomi, some great guitar work on this. Probably one of the nicest vocals I've heard her do. The Forbidden Fruit, I do like the guitar bits, but I must admit the bit in the drumming is pretty good as well. Then we got L'Amour Stories. Great guitar riffs on this one. Interesting vocal, and it works. Dinner for Two, a very simple guitar and vocal track. Just proves what a nice voice she has got. Panda Panda Panda, great riffs, great drumming, weird vocal, but it works. Haley and Homer, a very short track. It's a very nice melodic thing. The Adam and Eve Connection, great singing on here, and I think it's Greg singing, hard to tell. And the last track, Blue Cash, nice little track to end the album, simple guitar and a very nice vocal. This album is pretty consistent. It's got some really good tracks on. Not so much of the crazy stuff. It's quite well put together. So I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 6.6. Coming in at number 2 then. From 2005, it's the 7th album, The Runners 4. Again, it's Chris, John, Satomi and Greg. First track is Chatterboxes. Another nice opening track. Very simple guitar. And towards the end it goes a bit off track, but the whole track is pretty good. My favourite track on this one is Twin Killers. The guitar is good, it's quirky, it's a fun song, pretty decent song. Running Thoughts, a great bass line from Satomi. The drumming is really good as well. Then we have Vivid Cheek, Love Song. Very basic, nothing too extravagant. Well, if you do tracks like that, it does work. Then we have Odyssey. Sounds like there's more one person singing on this. It works quite right. The Wrong Time Capsule, my second favourite track on here. I love that riff, and the Satomi's vocal is pretty good as well. Spirit Digits of No Tone. Wonderful guitars on this. I don't know if it's Chris or I think it is Chris, yeah, and John. They sort of do a little twiddly bit on it. It's really good. Scream Team. It's got one of the heaviest riffs and melodic riffs I've ever heard from this band. It's quite different. You Can Sing Me. It's one of the guys singing. It's quite melodic. Midnight Bicycle Mystery. Very disjointed. The old sort of bits and bobs sound. It's only 2 minutes, but it's not very good. After Me, The Dirt Deluge. Nice acoustic guitars on this one. Catchy tune as well. Cyrus Star. I like it. It starts off it's like a little frenzy, and then it goes into the gentleness. It's quite good. Then we have Lemon, Little Lemon, great bass line on that. It's a quirky little track. Lightning Rod Run isn't too bad, and I'd say it's one of my favourite tracks by the band. Bone Dry, bit boring, dirging, that thing. New Summer Bird, one of them poisonous tracks. What's going on there? Spy on You. Very filler track. Your R2, noisy, too many distractions. Then we have a track called Right. Good song. I like how it just finds into nothing at the end. This album's alright, there's 15 tracks on it. Some of them are a bit filler, but on the whole I do like this album, and so I'm going to give it an RTO ranking of 6.7. Okay, my number 1 album is from 2017, and it's their 14th, and it's called Mountain Moves. I love the cover of this. I think it's a cool cover. So we've got John on this, Satomi, Ed and Greg. Now the first track is Slow Motion Detonation featuring Juana Molina. This is good. I like this. Absolutely brilliant. What a bass line. Then we have a track called Consordino. It's a great track. It sounds like it's going to be a track by the Police with that guitar riff. It reminds me of the beginning of Can't Stand Losing You. It's a great guitar solo as well. I Will Spite Survive featuring Jen Wasner. One of my favourite tracks on here. Great. It is my favourite. To be quite honest, it's got a great riff, great drumming. It's just a fantastic track. Come Down Here and Say That featuring Lahita Sadia. Lovely guitar tones on this. It's not one of my favourite tracks, but the tone on that guitar is pretty good. Then we have Gracias La Vida Valletta Par 59 seconds from Operatic. Begin the Countdown. I love the percussion on this, a groovy bass line, some nice little intricate guitar bits on it as well. Your dystopic creation doesn't fear you, featuring Fina. Love the guitar on this, not bad, one of the best tracks on the album. Aye, that's me, solid track. I think it's got a very good vocal on it, great guitar work. Palace of the Gun, there's a nice arrangement. The singing on this is pretty good as well. Sing Along Junk featuring Xenia Rubinos, nice arrangement, very good singing on that. Mountain Moves featuring Matana Roberts, worst track on the album, very disjointed, but I do like the saxophone. Freedom Fire Ride, the Staple Singers, bassy drum, quirky. Then we have Sea Moves featuring Chad Popple and Devlin Hoff. Don't like this at all, it's horrible, but a bit of a filler. Then we have Coco Eye, filler again. Then we have Bob Marley's Small Axe, a different interpretation, and I think it works. A lot of tracks on here, a lot of filler, but the tracks that I do like are really good. There's some absolute stinkers on here, but there's not the one album that I could say I liked all the way through. But this one is the best one that I really got on with some of the tracks. There's more tracks on here I like than dislike, so I'm going to give this an RTO ranking of 7 out of 10. So there we go. This is probably one of the hardest rankings I've had to do, but I do like a challenge, as you know, and I enjoy doing these, even though I do struggle with some of the albums, but they're fun to do, and if I don't agree with yours, it's just one of them things. We all hear things different, but I do enjoy doing these, and I know I've got another one coming up from Zeb very shortly as well, which was even tougher than this, so I do like that challenge. So anyway, that's all for today, because I've got lots to do, things to do, as it's a certain day for me, but I'll be back tomorrow, and we've got the first group of Battle Royale 2. It's the rock singles group, and also tomorrow we're going to do a bit of pick and mix, and it's in the camera's view, and we're going to have a look at the meridians of the recital of the script. Have a great day, everyone. I'm off out tonight for a few sherbets, and why not? I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye for now.